I love looking at the Thomas & Friends stock in store. I often look at it all times of the year, and I'm always looking at it very carefully in the lead up to Christmas, in particular those final few weeks before Christmas. If you've watched my videos about Thomas & Friends toys in store, I've often spoken about empty peg syndrome or empty shelves, and I think this year we have hit an absolute new low. It's been a very unusual year for Thomas & Friends toys, with the way Thomas Adventures has now gone, and we've now got Trackmaster, or two versions of it, Thomas Minis, and I've never seen the new all-painted version of Thomas Wood appear in the retailers, which used to have the unpainted version of that toy. This isn't about pinpointing retailers, this is what I see across the board, and always there seems to be a massive Percy's left behind. And to be honest here, very few playsets. I did see a Super Cruiser, but the things that I know which are fantastic in the Thomas & Friends realm have all sold out. As usual, I'm seeing the Paw Patrol toys bleeding into the Thomas & Friends area. In Australia, they always seem to be put side by side. And it's a video here where a picture will tell 1,000 words. Empty peg syndrome, empty shelves syndrome is very much a constant with the Thomas & Friends toys. There seems to be some sort of supply-demand issue going on with the stores. The retail stores will come back and blame the toy companies, or the toy companies will say, well, the retail stores didn't make a sufficient order. And let's not forget that Mattel or the retailer can't make a cent from an empty peg or an empty shelf. In this particular store, the Thomas & Friends area used to be an island where you could walk around and see all the toys. It's now turned into one cell, which is very common across many stores. And while I was here, I looked at what else was available in store in the lead up to Christmas. And as usual, the toy area bleeds out into all of the major aisles of the store. And you will see temporary cardboard islands of your favorite toys set at a pretty good price. Of course, they're set up there to tempt the children in store and also let the parents see the toys very easily. And what was really unusual, and I'm letting you see what was available there, was I couldn't find a Thomas & Friends dedicated island that's normally in the store this year. So it has me thinking, what's going on here? There seems to be some big shortage of the Thomas & Friends stock again. Because I love adding pictures to Google reviews, I'm often taking pictures within toy areas or places that I'm interested in the store, and I put them up on the Google review page related to a store. And I was looking at what toys were available in this crunch before Christmas, and I was seeing a lot of Toy Story 4 toys. Mind you, it did remind me of a few years back when there was like masses and masses of Star Wars toys. It seems Disney loved to just basically flood the toy aisles with their toys, and it's a matter of, well, here we are, pick me up, I'm available. Yet there are some other toys that seem to be whittled down to basically nothing in the weeks leading up to Christmas, and a lot of people get very disappointed when they can't find what they want to find, and it's too late to order online. If I show you some pictures that I took from this store last year, between, let's say, July leading up to October, you can see Thomas used to have his own island that I spoke about before. This is before he became a cell of toys on a shelf. But always the constant was supply and demand. So often I'd see an empty shelf or lots of empty pegs. And that's telling me two things. Number one, there's obviously a supply demand problem going on. But number two, the toys are actually selling. Thomas & Friends is strong. And now if I move to, let's say, the middle of this year, leading up to, let's say, October, often there's mid-year toy sales in retailers like this. And you can see the toys were there, but coming up to Christmas in that last crunch, the toys have mysteriously vaporized. So the lesson that I'm seeing in this is that if you want that lovely Thomas & Friends playset, or the Thomas & Friends toys you really love, you've got to get them well before Christmas because, as I see over and over and over, they won't be there once Christmas hits. I've got a fantastic Thomas & Friends army that watch my videos. I'm sure they go to the toy stores and see what's there. They're going to tell me what they see, because then I get a worldwide pattern going on and we can read the comments and see whether this is a local problem for me or this is a worldwide problem. Of course, we've got no idea of what goes on via online stores. But there's a mystery to me, and that is, where is the new, all-painted Thomas wood toys? Because I never saw them come back into the retailers that had the version that was half-painted that became an epic fail. Mind you, they have become highly collectible. And the final thing I'll say here is, it's actually very good news that I see the Thomas & Friends stock selling out like this. As I said earlier in this video, Thomas is strong. Yet I can't say the same for Paw Patrol.